Shashank, first to you, how would you, how do you look at the government's move, this move by the RBI of giving this record dividends to the government?
Yeah, so Gargi, I think this criticism of surplus transfer from RBI is unwarranted because the surplus is generated out of the realized reserves, and this is well within the framework of the law. This is not happening for the first time. This surplus transfer of the economic surplus may be happening for the first time, but this was moved by other previous governments also. Like in 1997, Subramaniam Committee was set up. In 2004, Usha Thorat Committee was set up, and then Malegaon Committee was set up. And all these committees recommended that the surplus should be within the range of 14% to 18%. But as of now, the RBI surplus stands around 28%, which is well above the international benchmark. So there is no bullying. I mean, Vimal Jalan is the former RBI governor,
right?
And the committee has recommended
his recommendations after the committee set up by him.
Yeah.
But still, Shashank, there is this sense that we've had former RBI governors actually exiting, and now with Shaktikanta Das there, it seems that there is this sense that he is a more agreeable RBI governor for this government.
So, Gargi, you will have to understand that RBI and government has to work in tandem. They are not two separate organizations. Though they are separate organizations by way of law
but
and by way of existence.
But of course they are separate organizations. RBI has to look at our economy and ensure the health of the economy.
But Gargi, the objective has to be the same. The government and RBI has to work in tandem, and they have to work for the betterment of the economy. And given the current economic situation, this stimulus is
all right, Shashank, so now what we have to look out for is how these funds are used, isn't it? Because will this provide the stimulus the economy needs
Gargi,
now?
Yeah, I would like to raise here that the government is bound by the FRBM Act, and the government has lowered the fiscal deficit target to 3.3%, and given current revenue inflation and given the current revenue targets, we may fear that the revenue target may not achieve for the current financial year 1920. In this situation, this extra bonanza or whatever you may call it will help the government to meet the fiscal deficit target. Point number one. Point number two, the government has to mop up the investment cycle, and this extra, the 90,000 were provisioned, 90,000 crores were provisioned in the 2019 budget, and this extra amount can be used by the government either to fund the investment projects, or it can be used by the government to wipe up the debt. I mean, the government can ask the RBI, request the RBI to transfer this fund in such a manner that it can reduce the government debt, which will further impact the interest outflow in the future period. So there can be several ways of utilization of funds. That's not an issue, because we have lowered, the government has lowered the fiscal deficit target on a continuous year basis. In the interim budget, it was 3.4%. In the final budget, it had been lowered from 3.4% to 3.3%. So utilization of fund is not an issue because the government is running various social
all right, but Shashank, even if you talk about how earlier these amounts there have been dividends from the RBI coming to the government, but if we can just pull up that chart in which that bar graph in which we're showing just how much an excess has come this year to the government from the RBI. This large amount has never happened before. If we have those numbers on our screen, 68,000 crore in 2015, 30,000 in 2016, 50,000 last year. But this year, 1,76,000 lakh crore being transferred to the government.
There is a reason behind this. The previous RBI governors may be too cautious or too conservative in transferring the surplus funds. But given the current economic situation, it cannot happen that RBI is sitting on the surplus fund and government is going to the market.
And these surplus funds for the RBI meant for a contingency, any sort of crisis to tide over that.
Gargi, I will touch upon this topic also. The contingency fund reserve has been recommended by Vimal Jalan panel from 5.5% to 6.5%. The global benchmark for this contingency fund is 2%. So we are well above the global benchmark coming from the
you're saying that the Vimal Jalan committee looked at all these issues and then it recommended that this money could be transferred.